Right, hopefully you're starting to feel quite familiar with all these weird and wonderful particles now. So I think it's time to ask, why do we think any of them exist? And the answer is that we found evidence for particles that didn't match any of the particles that we knew already. And that evidence was paths in cloud chambers. So I want you to think about aeroplanes for a moment. When an aeroplane goes by in the sky, it leaves a jet trail behind. We're basically saying the same thing with these unknown particles that were coming from outer space. They were passing through our apparatus, which is called a cloud chamber, and they were leaving trails in the chamber. And scientists decided, right, well, we're going to try and find out what these particles are. And so they put electric and magnetic fields across the chamber, and they knew how strong they were. And so that meant that positively charged particles would be pushed in one direction, negatively charged particles would be pushed in another direction, and neutral particles would keep going straight. And as you can see, this is a typical sort of path you get. You can see you've got some paths curving off one way, some curving off another way, and some going straight. So this is how scientists were able to work out what the charge was and how big it was. And then also because of the magnetic fields, they could work out the mass of the particles. And so they set to work. They got all of this data. It's a huge and very impressive detective story. They got all this data and they set about working out, right, well, that particle, what's its charge, what's its mass, this particle, what's its charge, what's its mass, and so on, and then recording, okay, so we've got this particle coming in and it turns into all of these things. And then they took all that data and they worked out what was the smallest number of particles you could have and what was the smallest number of rules for interactions that you could have that would account for what they saw and what they didn't see. So it's a really impressive bit of science, and it doesn't, strange as all this stuff seems, it has all actually been detected. And the last point to make for those who are doing AQA, even these bosons have been detected, although in all honesty I have no idea how they have detected those ones.